And we welcome you to Larry Poe Field here in Coal City, West Virginia on the campus of Independence High School as Video Productions presents this evening exciting girls softball Raleigh County style. It's the battle between the Liberty Raiders. They have a record of 10-6, coached by Mary Green, take on the Independence Patriots. They're 16-7, coached by Ken Atkins. Hello again, everybody. I'm Maris Lowry, and I'm with softball royalty, known here from the people at Independence. Independence Softball Hall of Famer Kayla Saunders joins me for the broadcast. Kayla, welcome aboard. You spent your high school career here. You were one of the top players. As we mentioned, you're a Hall of Famer, and now it's a pleasure to have you join us here on Video Productions for Independence and Liberty here this evening.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you guys for having me, and I'm excited to call some softball. I've called some basketball, and softball is my true love, so I am excited to be here on a beautiful day.
Well, we're about ready to get going. Actually, we'll start a little late, which is okay, and we'll give you the lineups and stuff on the fly. And the reason we're a little late, because the game was originally scheduled for 5:30, but they had a senior day, even though they do have a home game tomorrow, which we'll have. So, Kayla, what we'll do is we'll just, instead of giving the starting lineups, we'll get it on the fly. And leading things off for Liberty will be the catcher, Alyssa Scarborough. It'll be Scarborough, Hill, and Mullins, the first three batters. Scarborough leads off, hitting .440. She digs in from the left-hand side of the plate. On the mound for Independence is Pierce. The battery is Pierce and Parks. And we're underway. The first pitch of the ball game is a swing and a miss. So were you a first ball hitter? Did you like to jump on that first pitch?
So I did. I was pretty aggressive with the first pitch. That was kind of my mentality, was to go after it if it was there. Sometimes I know that's not always the best thing to do, but that was in general, I would follow what the situation called for, but in general, that was kind of my philosophy.
That ball was fouled back 0-2 the count. Pierce ready and sets to deliver the 0-2. That ball is slapped foul. So where did you bat in the batting order?
So my freshman and maybe my sophomore, can't remember, but my freshman year for sure I was second in the order, and then if maybe my sophomore year second, but I believe I was third, maybe my sophomore, junior, and senior year.
So here comes the 0-2 to Scarborough, and that's the first out. That's a called strike, and that's the first out of the ball game.
Good placement there.
Yep. So 1 up, 1 down, and Hill will be the batter. Hill steps up to the dish, batting .414. And the one thing, too, is I'm sure, obviously, you would agree with this, Kayla, that pitchers want to get off getting ahead of the hitter.
Sure.
So that's why if you are a first pitch swinger, you can be looking because they want to get the ball over the plate, and you can be ready for that.
A lot of times it will be the best pitch that you see the whole at-bat. So, that was my strategy. I wanted to go up there looking for that first pitch, and if it was there, try to put it out there somewhere.
The dimensions of the ballpark here at Independence at Larry Poe Field is 200 all the way around from foul pole to foul pole. So no matter, Kayla, if you're going to hit it out of the park, no matter where you hit it, you're going to have to hit it a tad over 200 feet.
A little over 200.
All right, so Hill will step in with 1 out, nobody aboard. Independence in the outfield from left to right is Cook, Emma Lilly, and Stanley. As she squares the bunt, does Hill and bunts it foul. In the infield from third around the horn is Simpson at third, Bell Lilly at short, Bradbury at second. Bream is the first baseman. Once again, the battery is Pierce and Parks. Got a little bit of breeze here
A little
this
bit.
evening.
I did come prepared, having played here for a few years. Even on a pretty warm, sunny day, I knew I would get chilly because it's always windy on the hill.
And you know what? And I think you would agree with this, too. I think as nice as it was today in the Beckley, Coal City, Raleigh County area, and I'll get this point in a minute. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. And this is fouled back out of play right behind us. But, no matter how nice, and it was like in the mid-70s today, no matter how nice it is, it's always colder at the ballpark than anywhere else. Not just this ballpark, but like any ballpark.
Yeah, it is. That's what I've told people before. If you see any of my old softball pictures, it could have been taken in May sometime, and I was probably wearing a long sleeve Under Armour.
All bundled up.
Yep.
There's a ball hit to right field, and that's going to fall for a hit. That's going to roll all the way to the wall, but a nice job by the Independence outfielder there, Lilly, to run it down because the big turn was taken by Hill, and they'll hold Hill to a single. So a 1-out single, first hit of the ball game. And Mullins will now be the hitter, the Liberty shortstop. Mullins batting at an even .400. Mullins also with 16 runs driven in. Both teams are wearing white. The only difference is, of course, Independence the navy blue pants and Liberty the black pants. The ball had a lot of heat on it, didn't it?
It did, yeah. And it carried a little bit, too.
You could hear the pop.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I thought the umpire called that a strike. I could be wrong.
He did.
So they have ball one, so it is a strike.
He said it was
so
a strike.
You're going to have to help me out when it comes to that. This one's fouled back, and now they got it correct. So I've learned over the years, and, doing this a lot, Kayla, that I don't always look at it. You can't always trust it. And not a lot of times that they're in a different position we are, and maybe they didn't see or hear it, but he definitely looked like he gave the strike signal.
Right.
So 0-2 is the count to Mullins, the 0-2 pitch, and here's a throw down to first. Back in safely.
I'll tell you, sometimes being in the press box, we're out here on the side, so we're in the open. It is kind of hard to hear sometimes. If you don't see his signal, it's hard to hear if he caught a strike or a ball from back there.
So 1-2 the count to the Liberty shortstop. Mullins in the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed strike three. That's the second strikeout of the inning.
It was a good pitch.
So there's two down, and the cleanup hitter Bowles will come to the dish. Bowles batting .449 with 12 runs driven in. Pierce won the game we did here last week. Kayla beat Beckley, and then also Pierce was a losing pitcher in that 11-6 loss to Shady on Thursday.
I was not here, but I was watching you.
This ball's hit right over top of the third.
Over.
Yes, that's what you call hit it where they ain't, right? You couldn't hit it no better than right over the head of Simpson.
No, it looked like it was kind of off the end of the bat even, but it was right where it needed to be.
So Liberty with 2 hits in the inning, and Stella Brown will now be the batter. Brown hitting .347 with 16 runs driven in, so got 2 on and 2 out. Pierce taking her time, looking in, getting the signal from Parks. And that'll miss for ball one. So what position did you play?
I played shortstop all 4 years.
Okay.
I played shortstop pretty much my whole life. I think 1 year in Little League we needed a catcher, and I kind of wanted to try it. So I played catcher 1 year. But
squares the butt and bunts it foul. So are you telling me after you tried it, you're like, no more, you don't want no part of that no more?
I enjoyed it, but I love shortstop.
That's where all the action is.
It is. There's a lot of action there.
All right, count 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 on and 2 out here in the top half of the first inning. Glad you're with us here on Video Productions. Maris Lowry, Kayla Saunders, the heavy hitter, Mr. Nick Eskins producing and directing, and also the brains of the outfit. Faith Alexander is here as that's a swing and a miss. 1-2, Jackie Moon on camera. And a very windy day, a very beautiful day in the area here today. We'll be back tomorrow, expecting really good weather for tomorrow as well. Here's the 1-2 delivery, and that'll miss off the plate and even the count of 2-2.
Looked pretty good from over here, but it must have stayed out.
Yeah, I thought it was just a little tad. It looked like Pierce was trying to work the corner. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was a little far outside.
Pretty good spot, though.
So the 2-2. Swung on and fouled back, and that's one thing. 2 strikes, you got to be protecting the plate.
Mm-hmm. Shorten that.
And you don't see too many. At least I have it in all the years I've watched or broadcast softball. You don't see very many hitters take a 3rd strike. They're up there because they know that they're not up there to walk. They're up there to swing the bat.
Right.
So Pierce is ready. Looks into Parks, and we're ready to do the 2-2. And here it comes. Swung on, fouled back, just getting a piece of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, staying alive.
Staying alive, make the pitcher work, make them throw those pitches, right?
Yep. That's what I always, if I can keep battling long enough, I'm going to get just enough of one.
Got that breeze kicking up a little bit again, and we'll do the 2-2 again. Swung on and missed strike 3. So Pierce strikes out the side. A couple of hits, couple of runners left, middle of the first inning. It's Liberty nothing Independence coming to bat here on Video Productions.
Welcome, folks, to the most mouth-watering showdown on television, the Hangry Games Ultimate Snack-Off, right here at your local Little General store. As the snacks fly and the deli slices, remember, dear viewers, every item they're using can be found at your nearest Little General store, where creativity meets convenience. Keep your appetites brave and your snacks ready.
At Access Health, we treat your children the way we want our children to be treated, with care, compassion, and expertise.
We focus on treating the person, not just the symptom. Your health and well-being are our priority.
And when you face uncertainties, we are there with advanced technology and compassionate care.
This evening's game is brought to you in part by Indoor Air, your train dealer. Nothing stops a train. You can dial up Jeff Varney and his staff at Indoor Air at 304-890-2212. Also, the game this evening is brought to you in part by United Coal Company. And right now, United Coal Company is hiring, and they offer a no premium with a low deductible health insurance with dental and vision coverage. They also offer a company-paid life insurance, prescription drug coverage, and a company matching 401k plan. You can check them out on Facebook at United Coal Company. Well, Liberty, Kayla, had got a couple of hits. They stranded a couple of runners, and now we'll go to the home half of the first inning, and Independence will have Bradbury, Parks, and Emma Lilly will be the first three batters will come to the dish for the Patriots.
Yeah, I think just watching the last couple of games that you all did, you know, I again wasn't able to make it, but I always count on video productions to keep me informed, and it's a really good top of the order here. But I think Rusty even mentioned the other day they really hit throughout the whole lineup, which is important if you're wanting to make a deep run.
So Bradbury leads things off. She came in hitting .450 with a home run and 20 runs driven in. She's going to play at the next level. But defensively for Liberty in the outfield from left to right will be Brown, Hartshorn, and Lemon. From third to first will be Bowles at third, Mullins at short, Hill at second, and Green at first. The battery, Maddie Cox and Alicia Scarborough. So it'll be Bradbury digging in from the left-hand side of the plate, and the pitch is low. So if Rusty's not, Rusty will be with me tomorrow. I'll tell him that Kayla actually paid attention to what you said, Rusty.
I did. I was listening. He'll be so happy to hear that.
He will be, and I appreciate it. That, you know, it's good that you are a viewer now as well as a member now of Video Productions.
I'm happy to be here.
We appreciate that. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Like I said, I have to rub elbows with the ladies and gentlemen. I'm with softball royalty in this part.
I think you're being really kind, Maris.
All right, 2-0 the count to Bradbury, and the pitch is swung on and foul the opposite way. Of course, the one thing that hurt Independence in their last game when they lost to Shady, of course, Shady hit the ball, but Independence had 3 errors. Mm-hmm. That's one thing with the kind of offense that a lot of these teams have. You cannot give them extra outs.
Right, absolutely.
The 2-1 pitch. It'll be 3-1. Another thing, you can't give them free passes.
No.
If they're going to get on, you at least want to let them hit it. Yeah.
This leadoff batter.
Yeah.
That's kind of demoralizing, even if, you know, the first inning, but it is kind of demoralizing as the defense.
And Bradbury gets the free pass, and she's got excellent speed. So maybe look for her to go right off the bat as she draws the base on ball.
Yeah, put her right into scoring position.
So Parks will now be the hitter. Parks, just a sophomore, came in batting over .500 with 29 runs driven in. Actually, now that's up over 30. And she digs in from the right-hand side of the plate. Takes ball 1.
It was a big lead over at first.
Yeah, Maddie Cox on the hill for Liberty. So Parks to be followed by Emma Lilly. So, you know, you look at this Independence lineup, Kayla, they've got at least 3 are going to play at the next level. They eventually may end up more as squaring to bunt, takes a strike, throw down to second. It's not going to be in time. And really a good job by the shortstop Mullins just to keep the ball from going into the outfield.
It was a pretty good throw. It was kind of there, just bounced right in front of the runner.
And that ball kind of bounced up.
A little hard to handle.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Bradbury got a face full of dirt or maybe the ball bounced up, maybe hit her.
Yeah.
But she's got, of course, the mask on.
Yeah. I tell you what would happen to me sometimes when I would dive head first like that, which was fairly often. I always like to get dirty, even if I didn't really have to. But it would get in my contacts.
Right.
And then I couldn't see anything.
Well, you know, Kayla, I always say if you hit the ball far enough, you never have
to
slide.
Get dirty.
Right.
Yeah.
But you just like to get dirty
That's
anyway.
Right, yeah.
I'm sure your mom appreciated that, right? Because she had to wash your uniform,
I'm sure she's
right?
listening, so I'm sure that she is. She's really thinking about having to wash my uniform every
Here's
night.
a hit, nice play.
That was a nice hit.
Yes, that ball
right
was
at
hit
her,
good.
Snag.
Yeah, right on the button, and Bowles able to make a nice play the first out of the inning to line out to the third baseman.
I always said if I didn't get dirty, I didn't feel like I played a game.
Oh,
so
okay.
even
Well,
if I didn't have to.
So I'm sure if you hit a home run, you didn't slide in at home, right?
Well, here was I hit for contact mirrors. I didn't
got
really
you.
hit home runs.
But over 4 years, you may have seen one go over the fence. This ball slapped down the right field line, giving chase, and it's going to be a fair ball as Emma Lilly able to hit it. Bradbury will round third, and she will come in to score the game's first run, and that'll end up being a double and an error. As Emma Lilly will get all the way to third. And Independence takes a 1-0 lead. We'll watch the replay there. So it'll be Bella Lilly now, will now be the hitter.
I thought she was going to get to
it. She had a long run. This ball was hit down the line. It's curving foul. That's one thing here.
Great view of that.
Yes, at the ballpark here. Like I said, where we're located is just kind of a little off of the plate. And basically, Kayla, where you're sitting, you're almost in direct line with the foul pole, with the line. And there is a lot of foul room at this ballpark.
There is.
And like we said, it's 200 from foul pole to foul pole all the way around. So 0-1 the count to Bella Lilly. This ball swung on and popped up. This is playable. The pitcher comes over, makes the catch. That is Cox for the second out of the inning. That squeezes it for Liberty. So there's 2 down, and Bream will now be the hitter. Bream, the first baseman, she came in. She pitched a little bit the other night, came in relief of Pierce in the Shady game that we did here on Thursday. Bream digs in, hits from the left-hand side of the plate. And we'll take ball 1. Tomorrow we'll be right back here. It'll be a 6 o'clock start. It'll be Logan and Independence. And we're just right around the corner for the postseason.
Yeah, it's snuck up on me.
Yep.
I was reading something about some baseball, and that's what it was talking about, the postseason. And I was like, oh, it's here.
It's here for you. Well, you know, in West Virginia, too, with the weather that we have and time they start, it's relatively a short season compared to all the other sports in which we have.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, if you can get, I'm sure a lot of teams try to schedule 20, 25 softball and baseball games. And, of course, these teams have done that. There's a big cut and miss because, you know, Independence, we said, are 16-7. They were 12-1 at one point. Since then, they've gone 4-6 to be 16-7. So they've got 23 games in. This is their 24th.
Right.
They should get their 25th game in tomorrow.
It's a good place right there.
Yep. The count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, a run in. And that's Emma Lilly down at third. And Cox is ready to deliver the 2-2. Swung on right back up the middle. Wow, that was a sharp hit, and Cox is down. And, man, that would come right back where it came from as she's shaking up. That'll be an RBI infield hit. And 2-0. But, man, Cox took a shot as that ball was blasted right back up the middle as we watch the replay.
Man, it looks like it hit right around her knee.
Well, I know what. That hurt me.
Yeah, that she
my
probably
knee,
has an immediate.
my knee felt it over here.
Yeah.
So that'll be the second hit of the inning.
Yeah, that probably has an immediate bruise, lump.
So they are attending to Maddie Cox right there. But, I mean, she did all she could do. Was pretty good reaction to knock the ball from getting through because that ball was smoked right back up the middle.
Yeah, it was a good reaction.
So let's see if she's going to be able to continue. But, man, I don't think she might be able to.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to warm someone else up.
They're going to have to get her off the field. But I tell you what, that was a heck of an effort. So Liberty will have to
get some ice on that.
They're going to have to. Let's see who they're going to. What they'll have to do. They'll have to obviously get a new pitcher here, and looks like they're going to bring in one of the players already on the field. And I've got. Did it blow away from? I got it here somewhere. Kayla's got to help me out. Kayla, you probably already figured out. I need all the help I can get.
Yeah, number 24, McKinley Hill.
So Hill will come in to pitch, and she'll warm up. While she does that, we'll take a quick break, kind of collect ourselves, and we'll be right back here on Video Productions. right, we welcome you back, and so we're getting this updated.
So number 40, Cheyenne Wood, is going to go into right field.
Okay, Wood is in right field, and Lemon is going to come into where?
I believe Lemon is going to go to second.
All right, we're going to get it figured out. Heel goes from second to pitch. Well, that much we know.
Yes. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to help me out here,
Okay.
Kayla. I need all the help I can get. And if you're just joining us, Independence leads 2-0, and the starting pitcher, Matty Cox, off a shot right back up the middle from Peyton Bream. Cox knocked it down, but it caught her, looked like below the knee, between like maybe the shin and the knee, and that was a shot, and that drove in a run that scored Emma Lilly. So Bradbury led off with a walk, came around to score. Lilly has scored. It's 2-0, and there's been 2 hits in the inning for Independence, 1 Liberty error. And with the pitching change, they bring in Hill to come in, and she's warming up. So she will inherit Bream, which is still Cox's responsibility. There are 2 outs, and it's a 2-0 Independence lead. Did I leave anything out?
I don't think so. I think you covered it all.
I got all the literally all
All
the
the
bases
bases.
covered, right?
Yeah.
Well, we got a minute, Kayla. I'm going to have you do a little infomercial. Tell us about also what you're doing professionally now.
So I work for a company called Ascend HR. We are a PEO, so we do payroll, HR benefits, workers' comp, all of those back office tasks that a lot of business owners either don't want to do or don't really have time for. So we take on all of that for other local businesses. So I am sales and client relations, so I'm out and about and yapping in people's ears.
Well, I think that's perfect for you with your giant personality and, with your athletic ability, and all that kind of goes hand in hand. Or I bet you could still play. It's been a while since you've been out of school. I bet you could still you could still handle your own.
I wish that I could go out there right now. I really got the itch, but I don't know if I would move as well as I used to.
All right, we're ready to resume action, and now it'll be Savannah Stanley will be the batter for Independence, the Patriots right fielder.
Yeah, so 32. Annabelle Lemon, she is at second base.
Yeah, so Lemon's at second. So Stanley's now the hitter with 2 in and 2 out here in the bottom of the first inning. Bream the runner at first, and it's ball 1 as it'll be McKinley Hill, the new pitcher. But feel for Maddie Cox. Hopefully she's going to be okay because that was a shot.
Yeah, that'll probably leave a mark for a little while.
And this pitch just gets away from Hill, and Bream able to go down to second with no problem. So another runner in scoring position.
Hopefully she'll be able to get back into the lineup soon.
And Liberty entered the ball game 10-6, Independence 16-7. And the pitch, and that's outside. I would say these schools are separated, 10 miles maybe?
Not too far away.
It may not even be 10 miles, right? I'm just from.
And the schools are exactly the same.
They opened the same
Built
year,
in the same year.
1976.
Yeah.
That's Independence and Liberty.
Uh-huh.
Way back before you were born. So it counts 3-0, and that's another thing. In my day, I don't care, softball, baseball, you never swung at a 3-0 pitch.
Right.
But things are a little different today.
They give them the green light sometimes
Yes, they
nowadays.
do.
Yeah.
And here comes the 3-0 delivery. And speaking of the green light,
she
there it
got it,
is.
yeah.
He fouled it back.
Yeah.
No, you better be back in the day. You better be like Pete Rose or somebody like that. You better be a Mickey Mantle, or you better be somebody if you're going to swing at a 3-0
I don't
pitch.
really, and I'm maybe wrong. I don't remember swinging at a 3-0 pitch.
And there's a big cut for strike 2. No, that's the end of the inning. I beg your pardon.
Scoreboard had
All right,
3-0.
so but 2 cross the dish for Independence after 1. The Patriots lead Liberty 2-0. We'll be right back here on Video Productions.
Welcome, folks, to the most mouth-watering showdown on television, the Hangry Games Ultimate Snack-Off, right here at your local Little General store. As the snacks fly and the deli slices, remember, dear viewers, every item they're using can be found at your nearest Little General store, where creativity meets convenience. Keep your appetites brave and your snacks ready.
And we welcome you back to Larry Poe Field here at Independence High School. Maris Lowry with Kayla Saunders, Jackie Moon on camera. We have the heavy hitter, Mr. Nick Eskins, producing and directing, and the brains of the outfit, Faith Alexander, is with us as well. Glad you're with us here on Video Productions. All right, top of the second inning, Independence leads in the ball game 2-0. It'll be Green to lead things off. Green, Cox, and Toller, the first three batters for Independence here in the second, and the count's 0-1. Pierce is ready for Independence, and the 0-1 delivery. Swung on and missed. The count goes to 0-2.
She's really gotten a few of those Liberty batters to chase that high pitch up around their eyes.
Green batting .244, and she's able to lay off of
laid
that
off
one.
That one, yeah.
That's right. And, that's probably the hardest thing is,
it's
you
tough.
know,
it's around your eyes. It looks good.
And you're protecting the plate. You got two strikes on you. Anything close, you have to be swinging. And the 1-2. And that's a little low.
It was a good idea.
It was a really good pitch. I thought she had the corner there for a minute.
I did too.
So the count evens at 2-2. Pretty good crowd here this evening. And able to lay off. Very disciplined hitter, right?
Yeah.
So after being behind 0-2, the good eye from Canyon Green has now got the count full.
Yep. Worked it back full. That's good on her. Like those first two pitches were.
The payoff pitch swung on and missed, strike three. So that is the fourth strikeout. As you know, in the first inning, Pierce struck out the side, and now she's got 4 strikeouts on the ball game, and 1 out here in the second inning. And we will have, I said it was Cox, but Cox was the one that was injured.
That'll be
Wood.
Yeah,
Wood
number
will be the
40.
hitter.
Number 40.
Yes.
I couldn't see her full. I saw a 0,
Yeah.
but I couldn't see the 4.
So Wood will now be the batter, and she's 0-1. Pierce is ready, and the pitch. Count evens at 1-1. Got a little breeze. Maybe if you get one in the air, you might be able to get the breeze to carry it over the fence. Swung on and missed. The count goes to 1-2 to Wood.
Yeah, it does seem to be blowing out.
Pierce looks in and gets the sign from Parks and ready for the 1-2. Swung on, the ball's hit foul right in front of the Liberty dugout.
Swing all the way through, Cheyenne.
So we'll do it again at 1-2, and here it comes. Count now 2 balls and 2 strikes. We are outside, by the way, for watching. And there's swung on a missed, strike 3. So right now, Kayla, you got to like Pierce. She's mowing them down.
She is, yeah.
She's got
had
5
some pretty good pop on that.
Well, all of the outs have come due to the strikeout route. As Toller will now be the hitter. And she fouls this back. And even though there's a fence, it's just natural reaction. As you know,
and it was my glove hand.
Yeah, you're putting your hand up. Heavy hitter putting his hand up. I mean, it's just natural reaction.
It is.
I was just too slow to react. That's what it was. That's
you were getting there.
That's why I didn't get my hand up. And it counts 0-2. 0-2 to Toller. So Pierce, a pitch away from striking out the side for the second straight inning. Yep. In the 0-2. This ball is popped up, playable. The second baseman up under it, and will squeeze it for the out as Bradbury gets it 3 up, 3 down. Middle of the second, Independence in front, 2-0. We'll be right back here on Video Productions. This evening's game is brought to you in part by Indoor Air, your train dealer. Nothing stops a train. You can dial up Jeff Varney and the crew at Indoor Air at 304-890-2212. Also, the ball game this evening brought to you in part by United Coal Company. United Coal Company offers no premium and a low-deductible health insurance with dental and vision coverage. They also offer company-paid life insurance, prescription drug coverage, and a company-matching 401k plan. You can check them out by going to their Facebook page at United Coal Company. Going to the home half of the second inning, Independence in front by the score of 2-0. And it'll be the number 7, 8, 9, the bottom third of the lineup for the Lady Patriots. And Simpson will lead things off, the third baseman for Independence. And the pitch is ball one. So Simpson's ready. Hill with the pitch. And that is ball two. You know, it's one thing we talked about, Kayla. As good as hitters as these Independence batters are, you don't get too far. You don't want to get way behind in the count where you have to get the ball across the plate.
Right.
And you definitely don't want to put them on.
Yeah, that's tough.
Especially as you're talking about the bottom of the order with the big order coming up. She couldn't hold her swing. She does go around. That's a called strike, even though they appeal. I thought for sure.
I thought it was going to be
gonna
called back
be a strike.
here.
Yes, yes. You and I both.
Yeah.
Of course, I've come to learn over the years, whatever we say, we don't count.
Right.
All right, here comes the 2-1. That swung on and fouled back out of play, back behind the Independence dugout. A souvenir for somebody.
Way out ahead of that one. So.
Yep, way out in front. I said a souvenir. They threw it back
They
just
did.
like that.
Yeah, they gave it. And another one.
Yeah, and another one.
I was never a pitcher. I was not very skilled at throwing an underhand
Yeah.
where it needs to go and how hard it needs to be. But I can imagine, especially in softball, it's the pitching situation is obviously a lot different than baseball.
Sure.
But showing up to the ballpark not expecting to pitch, and then now you're in and
Yep.
second inning. It's a
And
kind of a tough spot.
Count's gone full to Simpson. Like I said, you don't want to walk the leadoff batter. They Liberty walked Bradbury, the leadoff
Yeah.
batter. The last inning, she turned around and
She
scored,
scored.
right? And it's, I'm sure, the much higher percentage whenever you walk the leadoff hitter. Yes, this payoff pitch is swung foul. Everybody better duck. You know, Major League Baseball, the stat is in the big leagues, when you walk the leadoff batter, they score. That particular hitter scores 72% of the time. So I would imagine for softball, it's probably even higher. I don't know what it is.
I would say it's higher.
I would say much higher, right?
I would.
So we'll do the payoff pitch again to Simpson. And here it comes. And that's swung on, and that will be playable, it looks like, out into left field. It's in fair ground, but it's dropped. That'll be an error, as that should have been caught. As Brown got up under it, she got to it.
Yeah, she was underneath it.
And she just couldn't get it to go. So Cook had started the game, but now it won't be Cook. We've got Stewart will be the hitter for Independence. Riley Stewart, a freshman, batting .286, will now be the hitter. And she takes a big cut and misses 0-1. So that's one thing, you know, Kayla, we talked about. You can't give anything, especially a good team like Independence, you can't give them extra outs.
Right.
You know, you get to the ball, you got to make the play.
Right.
And that time, squaring the butt, flowed down to second, and safe. So Simpson slots in successfully, and now in scoring position with nobody out. And it counts 1 ball and 1 strike to Stewart. Pierce hits next. Hill ready, and the 1-1 squares to bunt, and I think they're going to call that a strike.
I think she kind of
lunged at
it.
Yeah. You know, another thing, too, I've also noticed now during these games, you know, in my day, full count was always, you put your double
Both
fist, but
fists.
now it's not that way. They go just 3 and 2, so they don't even do that anymore. And the count now evens at 2-2. Yeah, I guess unless you're really on top of the softball, because it's one thing, and I understand things evolve and they change all the time, and I get that, but it seems like softball has more rule changes, more terminology changes maybe than any other sport, as there's a big swing and a miss for strike 3, and that's the first out of the Independence second inning. So 1 out and 1 aboard, and the number 9 hitter is Paris up. And, even though Paris is batting 9, she still has a really good bat, and being the opposing pitcher, chance to really help herself here, help her own calls here. Already leading in the ball game 2-0, and the pitch swung on and fouled. She was like way out in front of that.
Again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that, you think, maybe a little anxious? What do you think when they get that far way out in front?
Probably a little anxious, and now that there's a different pitcher in. They've been They watched the other pitcher for an inning or so. It might be a little different velocity that's coming in there to them.
And a lot of these teams have played one another, or they played travel ball. They're very familiar. Maybe they were familiar with the other pitcher.
Right.
Something like that happens. Like I said, they bring in a new pitcher.
Because even if you haven't batted all the way around, but you're still watching all the batters ahead of you, watching her throw.
Right.
Getting into a kind of a rhythm, or at least that's kind of what I did. And you get used to one, and then you have a new pitcher, and you're anxious and eager to hit.
Obviously, it worked for you. Got you in the Hall of Fame, so obviously it worked. So it counts 1-2, and here comes the 1-2 pitch, swung on. And that's going to be to the shortstop. Tough play, the throw.
It was a good play.
Got it.
Yeah.
And that's the second out of the inning. Did they it looked like she was out, but now are they saying she's safe?
He's saying the ball touched the ground, but
of course we have the replay here. Let's see if we can get a look at that. Of course, it won't matter because it's what they have out there. But I thought she was out initially. There's the throw. Yeah, she looked out, didn't she?
I see what he was seeing. However, I think that she had clear control of it there.
Yeah, it looked like she was out from the replay, but we don't count. They're not allowed to use a replay, but she definitely looked out.
Yeah.
So the discussion, and they can say she's safe.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's a tough break.
It is. I mean, I think what he was seeing, the glove, it was a lower throw. The glove kind of dropped. But from here, and from what I can see of the replay, it looked like she had clear control of the ball in her glove.
So we'll have a courtesy runner. I think that is the correct term that they use. That'll go as an infield hit. And let's see who we have in as a courtesy runner. Zoe Bragg will be the runner. As we're back to the top of the order, Bradbury walked her first at bat and came around to score, and she takes a big cut and misses. So that's a tough break right there going against Liberty.
It is.
Because, now you with 1 out and 2 on, top of the order, a potential really big inning.
That would have been a big out for Liberty to get. And I thought it was a good play, too.
Yeah, it was a real good play. Nice job that time by Mullins, the shortstop, as the courtesy runner Bragg easily takes second.
Sometimes some of those, hit off the end of the bat, has some backspin on it. Sometimes those are the hardest to handle out there. I thought she did a good job.
So 1-1 the count to Bradbury, and the pitch. Ball 2. They still use the term ducks on the ponds. And so that's the term they still use. They got another one. They said that ribs are on the grill. I've heard that as well.
Okay.
But that's a more newer term.
I haven't heard the ribs one, but
that's a more newer term.
I do appreciate some good food terminology.
Yes, of course. This ball swung on. Here's a shot. And it's off the top of the fence and over for a home run. Yep. That's a 3-run shot. And Bradbury will clear the bases. That ball hit the top of the fence and bounced right over for a 3-1 shot, a 3-run home run. And just like that, after you have that play that goes against you, you have Bradbury takes it deep. And 3 runs cross the dish, and that makes the score now 5-0. That's a tough break for Liberty. And now Parks will be the hitter. But that ball, that ball had eyes. It hit the very top of the fence and bounced over for a home run and a 3 spot now with that 3-run blast. So Bradbury on senior night, this is a senior night she won't forget, Kayla.
Yeah.
She scored twice, drew a walk, scored, and now delivers with a huge 3-run home run. Looks like we might have another pitching change.
Looks like it, yeah.
So 3 runs cross the dish for the Patriots, and they take a 5-0 lead.
Still 1 out and
Still 1 out, and
second in the
you're
order.
thinking maybe look what would have happened had
Right.
what everyone thought, but the ones that count, that the base runner was out and they called her safe. As we watched the replay, we just watched the replay, and let's see. I think we're going to have another pitching change. And I think so. We're going to look maybe some multiple changes as I see a lot of white jerseys run the dugout. I'll tell you, we'll take a break and come back and try to figure it all out. We'll be right back here on Video Productions. And we welcome you back to Independence High School. Maris Lowry with Kayla Saunders. And Kayla, we have our third pitcher of the ball game for Liberty. It'll be
Harley Meadows.
Meadows will come in.
Number 8.
So after a 2-run first inning, a 3-run second, a 3-run home run from Casey Bradbury, and that ball hit the top of the fence, and it could have easily have fell back in for probably would have been 2 runs instead of 3, and it fell over the fence.
It went the right way for her.
for Independence. That's what you call living well, right?
Yeah, right.
When things like
She's
that
done
happen
something
for
right.
you, you're doing something
Yeah.
right. A 3-run shot, and now that's extended the lead to 5-0. Now I've learned that it used to be an 8-run rule after 3, but now it's, I think, in 4.5 because Independence beat Beckley 8-0 last week after Beckley batted top of the 5th, maybe. Like I said, the rules, and I understand evolving and changing,
Right.
but softball, unless you're really on it or go to really have it,
Right.
the rules seem like they are constantly changing. As Parks will be the hitter. She lined out to the third baseman Bowles back in the first inning. She's 0 for 1. And now with that 3-run home run, the bases are cleared. There's 1 out. Meadows, the third pitcher of the ball game for Liberty. And here's the pitch. And that's a called strike.
Looks like the last pitcher's back at second now.
Yeah, which was Hill. That's where she actually
She started the game
there.
there.
Yeah, so back to her natural position.
Right.
And the count will even at 1 ball, 1 strike. So 1-1 the count. And Meadows ready in the pitch. Swung on. That ball's right back up the middle of the base hit. That ball was right back where it came from, right slap back up the middle, and another hit of the ball game. In fact, that is the 3rd hit of this inning.
That was her second hard hit of the game. The first one, of course, was right at the third baseman, and it was caught, but she's hit the ball hard twice.
So that's the 3rd hit in this inning and the 5th overall hit for Independence. And it'll be Emma Lilly. She doubled and scored. She was doubled and able to go to third on an error back in the first inning. And the runner able to advance to second. And right now, it looks like I think Liberty's just got to kind of
Calm
maybe
down.
just like chill out a little bit and kind of maybe grab themselves together. They had a
Kind of regroup and
Yeah.
refocus. And
they've had some I don't know, maybe the softball gods weren't with them with
Yeah.
an injury to their pitcher. This
Yeah.
ball's hit to the shortstop. Nice play. The play at third
Good play.
and should be out, and that is the
it
case.
was a good play.
That was a good play.
Would
That'll
have
be
been tough to get her at first, so she went
Yes.
to third. That was a good play. Good heads up play.
so that's a fielder's choice.
It looked like she was running from second on the crack of the bat and wasn't waiting for
Yeah.
a throw or anything, so that was good heads up for the shortstop to see that.
And that'll get Bella Lilly to the plate. She popped out to the pitcher her first time up. Ball 1 the count. But I think a lot of misfortunes has happened to Liberty here,
yeah.
and, with the pitcher getting
Yeah.
hurt right off the bat. They thought they had an out that was called safe.
Right.
Then a home run where the ball hits the top of the wall and easily could have bounced in play as well as over the fence for a home run.
Bounced out. Yeah, sometimes it is not your day.
Yep.
And I've been on both ends of it.
Yeah, and sometimes like things like this is kind of like snowball, right?
Yeah.
Once it starts, like momentum
It's
things
hard
just
to get
it
out
is. It's
of
kind of
it.
hard to.
And it's not even like it's
Yeah.
all in your control sometimes.
Right. You
It's
start
hard.
headed one way and you got to put the brakes on the bus and turn the bus
Yeah.
around back the other way,
Yep,
right?
Yep.
All right. So it counts 1-2 to Bella Lily. 1-2. That ball's hit to the shortstop, and that's just a tough play. That'll get Byron out into left field. The throw's going to be high to third base,
that'll
and
give
that
her
will be an
second.
error, as that will allow Bella Lily to get down to second. So still now with 2 outs and now 2 more runners in scoring position. And Ream, the hitter, she was the one that had that hit right off of the leg of Maddie Cox that knocked Cox out of the ball game. The starting pitcher for Liberty. Meadows now in there for Liberty. She's their third pitcher. The throw down to third, and the runner back in safely.
Pretty close, closer than I expected it would
But
be.
you know, Kayla, right here could be the game. I mean, you're looking at already a 5-0 hole. If
Yeah.
Brain was able to deliver a base hit, it's going to score 2,
Yep.
and then, you know, that's going to make it tough. And there's a called strike. Count evens at 1 ball, 1 strike. Yeah, this is such a critical batter in this game if you're Liberty to try to get out of the jam here.
Yeah.
Meadows ready to pitch. Swung on. That ball is foul. And really, from Bream, she's probably better off that it was foul because more likely she's going to be thrown
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Bream, a tall, lanky first baseman, also does pitch from time to time. And here comes the 1-2. Swung on. Here's a drive. Right field, over the right fielder's head, back to the wall. That'll play a couple as Bream will go to second standing and has a 2-run double. For a minute, I thought when she first hit, I thought it was going to leave the yard.
Yeah, it carried a little bit.
So 2 more runs score, and that makes it 7-0. That's the 4th hit of the inning.
Yeah.
And now the 9th hitter in Stanley to the dish. And called strike, of course, Bremen scoring position. You figure any hit with 2 outs, any hit to the
Gonna
outfield
score
is probably
her.
going to score her. So a 5 spot here in the second has taken the lead to 7-0. And the count will even at 1 ball, 1 strike. So if Stanley can keep it alive, they'll have batted
Batted
around. Yeah.
Yep.
And it counts 2-1. As I say, any teams, especially Independence, I've seen them, and any teams, you cannot give teams extra outs.
Yeah, they
And-
make you pay.
Yep, Liberty had an error in this inning that kind of opened
Yeah.
the floodgates.
Yeah.
This ball was skied to center field. Center fielder Hartshorn's got to play on it and squeezes it for the final out of the inning. But 9 batters come to the dish. They score 5 times, and after 2 full innings of play, it's a touchdown and an extra point. 7-0 is the lead for Independence over Liberty. We'll be right back here on Video Productions.
Welcome, folks, to the most mouth-watering showdown on television, the Hangry Games Ultimate Snack-Off, right here at your local Little General store. As the snacks fly and the deli slices, remember, dear viewers, every item they're using can be found at your nearest Little General store, where creativity meets convenience. Keep your appetites brave and your snacks ready.
This afternoon's game is brought to you in part by Indoor Air. Indoor Air, your train dealer. Nothing stops a train. You can dial up Jeff Varney and the crew at 304-890-2212. Also, the ball game is brought to you in part by Infinity Coal Company. Infinity Coal Company, they're looking for employees, and you can check them out on their Facebook page at United Coal Company. Well, Kayla, if you're Liberty, you're down, as I mentioned, going to break. You're down a touchdown, an extra point, 7-0. You've got to get base runners. You got to get something going here.
Yep. All starts with one base runner, though, so try to get someone on and see what happens.
So it'll be the ninth hitter as 9, 1, and 2. And here's something, too. The hitter is Emma Hartshorn. She was the one that caught the third out. Isn't it how many times you see that if you make the play on the final out in the field that you're always sometimes the leadoff hitter of the next inning?
Right. There's
a bunt that's foul. And the count will even at 1 ball, 1 strike. But, yeah, so, in that second inning, Independence were on the top of the third now. Independence sent all 9 players to the dish. This here in the third inning is just the 9th player to bat for Liberty in the game.
Yeah. I don't hate this idea. Bunting, try to make something happen, make him pick the ball up and throw you out. They've been having trouble getting on base. So.
As you said, they've just got to get base runners.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, make him make a play.
And the pitch swung on and missed. Count evens at 2-2. Yeah, back in the day, the late great Earl Weaver that managed the Baltimore Orioles in the late 60s, early 70s, he's always say, get a couple people on, then hit a 3-run home run. He says you can't hit a 3-run home run if nobody's on base.
That's right. That's right.
Of course, you're not maybe expecting Liberty to hit out the park, but you get put a couple hits together, get a couple people on. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. And the count will be even at full at 3-2.
And if you're Liberty, a walk works.
That's right. You just got to have base runners.
Right.
Top of the third, 7-0. 2 in the first, 5 in the second for the Patriots. Here comes the payoff pitch, and there's ball 4. And as you talked about, a walk works.
He called a strike.
Yes, he did. I beg your pardon. And I wasn't trying to call, but I didn't see the umpire give the signal. So I beg your pardon on that, ladies and gentlemen. So it was not I trying to be the umpire. I just couldn't tell.
Yeah, he didn't on that replay. Didn't make much of a move, did he?
So back to the top of the order, Scarborough. She was a strikeout victim. In fact, 6 hitters have struck out. Yeah, 6 of the 9. And that one's plain. That's a strike.
Yeah, that's why I don't hate, bunting here and there in this type of situation. Like I said, put it out there and make him field it, make him throw you out.
Yeah, make him make the play.
Yep.
That'll be ball 2.
I'm a big small ball proponent, though.
Hey, whatever it takes, because in most cases in softball, and I'll get to this point in a minute after this pitch, foul back, yeah, you have some girls that are capable of coming up, hitting a home run, and you might have one girl might have 2 or 3 home runs for the season, but consistently you're not going to get a couple people on and have girls hit 3 home runs all the time.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Right.
Of course, that's even, the way in the big leagues, Major League Baseball has changed. It used to be that's what they used to do, and then it went to small ball. Now it's back to get people on and you smash a 3-run home run.
Right. Change the bats up. And
yeah. Small swung on and missed strike 3. So that's 2 up and 2 down, both with the strikeout route, and that'll bring up McKinley Hill, I beg your pardon. McKinley Hill, she's got a hit back in the first inning. She'll now bat with 2 out, nobody aboard. And this is going to be her second hit of the ball game. She goes the opposite way with a solid hit to right field. So for the second time in the game, Hill's aboard with a hit, and she has 2 of Liberty's 3 hits. And Bowles, it'll be Mullins up now, will be the hitter. She was a strikeout victim. Katie Mullins, a strikeout victim back in the first inning. Pierce is ready, and the pitch. And called strike, throw to first. She's back in. Here's the thing, Kayla. I would think with 2 outs, you have a 7-run lead. I don't think I would even
Just worry about the batter.
because you don't want to maybe throw the ball down the
Right.
line, somebody miss it. You've
Give
got
them some sort of
right.
excitement when they don't
some
really
kind
have
of
very
hope.
much.
Yeah, you've got enough lead, and you just need one more out to get out of the inning. This is a little pop up, and it's going to fall. Going to be a tough play, and safe, an infield hit.
Yeah.
That I could tell that was going to be tough when that ball went in between the pitcher and the shortstop.
Got that spin on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's back-to-back hits. And a little 2-out lightning, perhaps, as Bowles will be the hitter, and she's got a hit back in the first inning. So let's see if Allie Bowles can deliver. They got 2 out and 2 on. Swung on, drive, left field, look up, the park won't hold it. A 3-run home, there's that 3-run
homer.
That's what we talked about, right, Kayla? You get a couple on, 2-out lightning, and a 3-run blast. And Liberty back in the ball game as they cut the lead to 7-3.
Yeah, she got a hold of that one.
Her second hit of the game.
You could tell it turned the left fielder, and then she didn't even continue running. I could tell that's definitely gone. She didn't even run to the fence.
So we've seen 2 home runs.
Yeah.
2 3-run home runs.
Yeah.
See, Caleb, when you come, you bring the excitement, right?
There we go.
But that's what we talked about, getting 2 on and then hitting a 3-run home run, knocking it out of the park.
They must have heard you.
They must have.
They did exactly. You should coach. They did exactly what you said. It was that easy.
Yeah, this ball is fouled back. But once again, like I said, Independence is thinking, man, 2 outs and and now Liberty's got a little life, and that was such a big play.
Yeah.
As Brown's the hitter now.
Yeah, it's a new ball game.
Yes.
Once you start to believe that you're back in it.
Got a touchdown extra point for Independence, a field goal for Liberty, 7-3.
Right.
I don't know that people like the football spinning into softball. I think it's good.
I like it.
Well, as long as you like it, I'm good. This ball swung on and slapped foul down in front of the Liberty dugout. The count goes to 1-2. But like we were sitting here, Liberty just needed something positive to happen.
Yeah, they did.
And like I said, remember I said earlier, the bus is going downhill. You get the brakes, you turn the bus. That's kind of like what they did with that. Right. They just needed that.
And you have to make it happen, and they did.
And Allie Bowles delivers a huge 3-run blast, and there's the called strike. But Liberty able to strike with a big 3-run home run by Bowles. Middle of the third, it's Independence 7 and Liberty 3. We'll be right back here on Video Productions. And we welcome you back to Independence High School. I'm Maris Lowry with Kayla Saunders. I'm glad you're enjoying this broadcast here on Video Productions. The heavy hitter, Mr. Nick Eskins, producing and directing. The brains of the outfit, Faith Alexander is here, and Jackie Moon on camera. And Kayla, we were talking in the break. Now you got to think that Liberty has got some life, got some momentum as they were down 7-0. They were able to strike with that big 3-run home run to get back in the game.
Yeah, and now they can kind of use the mindset. Just chip away and see where you're at, near the 6th, 7th inning.
Yep, so we're here in the home half of the 3rd inning. It'll be the 7th, 8th, and 9th hitters due up for Independence. It'll be Simpson, Stewart, and Pierce due up. And Simpson was the one that got things started in last inning when she reached on an error and she scored a run, scored one of the 5 runs that Independence scored back, in the last inning, the bottom of the 2nd. And there's a called strike to Simpson.
As for Independence, I think it would be big for them to come back and kind of
retake
the momentum.
And answer.
Yeah.
Yes. So the 0-1 delivery, swung on and fouled, and 0-2, Simpson now in the hole. Tomorrow night we'll be back here, and I'll have Rusty instead of Kayla So, you know, I've did one with Rusty, one by myself, and one with Kayla, and now the second one with Rusty. This pitch is swung on and missed strike 3. So,
It's a good pitch.
yes, Simpson down on strikes. It was a good pitch by Meadows. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. And just like that, the first out of the inning. And maybe some of the momentum Kayla has carried over from the offensive part of the inning to the defensive side, as Stewart will now be the hitter. Stewart was a strikeout victim our only other time at bat back in the second inning. So she's 0 for 1. And here's the pitch. And that was, just couldn't lay off of that. That was like way over her head, and she took a big cut at it. But I will say this, you know, Meadows she's really bringing it. She throws very hard.
It's like,
I think a little coaching advice, kind of maybe.
Yeah.
That ball's literally over her head, and she took a big cut.
Just trying to settle her down.
You know, I also had a baseball coach one time say, you know, like when you take big cuts like that, you don't try to hit 2 home runs on one pitch.
Right.
Right. And I think, as you said, to try to regain momentum, if you're Independence, you just need base runners.
Just
You
get
get
somebody on
slap
base.
hits. Just got to get people on base.
Yeah, just poke it out there somewhere if you're Independence. And
that pitch will
was
miss.
outside.
The count will even at 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Bottom half of the third. 7-3 is the lead for Independence. And the pitch. Now go 2-1 to Stewart.
And after she chased that first one, she laid off the last 2 balls. So must have been a good meeting.
Probably the visit with the coach might have had something to do with that, right?
Yeah, a good meeting.
That ball is fouled back. You know, the one thing about it, after you've had a meeting with the coach, you want to make sure that you do you don't want to have a meeting with the coach and then make the same mistake and have to go back and face that coach again, right?
Right.
And here comes the 2-2. And the count will go full at 3-2.
Well, our third base coach in high school was my dad, so.
Oh, so you had to not only have to go back and hear it, you had to hear it when you got home as well, right?
Right. So I tried to do good.
And the payoff pitch, and there's
your base runner.
Yep, there's a walk. There's a 1-out walk.
That was a good at bat after that first swing and miss, and she did good work in that. walk.
So I got to ask you. So if your dad was one of your coaches, and when you got home, and I'm sure you still talked about the game, if your dad got on you, would your mom intervene and help you out a little bit?
She was. You know, my dad and I had a very good relationship in sports.
And there's a throw down to second and caught stealing.
Well, I thought she got under the tag, but it was a good throw and catch, so we'll see the replay, I'm sure.
The Independence coach is thinking what you're thinking, Kayla, because he's going to come out and argue it. And you know what?
Yeah, I think she was.
Well, here's the thing.
Replay.
As we watch the replay, but here's the thing. I've never seen a coach win an argument with a referee and umpire yet, and I don't think it's going to happen here today in Coal City. So now let's see what we're doing. So they will say she's out at second for the second out of the inning, caught stealing.
Yeah.
So we got back on this one. Talking about so you're talking about you and your dad, and so your mom would or would not intervene.
She usually didn't have to.
Here's the ball hit. We'll hold that thought out to the left fielder. And a great catch.
That
Beautiful play by Brown. Hold that thought, Kayla. We'll talk about it next inning because we got a game here after 3. 7-3 is the lead for Independence. We'll be right back here on Video Productions.
General Stores has been serving West Virginia communities for almost 5 decades. That's nearly 50 years of providing those essential needs for your daily journey. We are so grateful to be a small part of your lives, and we want to recognize the integral part of our operation, the LG family. We know these last couple years haven't been easy, but with every sunrise and sunset, you keep us going. To the LG family, the moms, dads, sisters, brothers, sons, and daughters of West Virginia, thank you.
So you're ready to get started on that home remodel? Then America's #1 exterior remodeler is here to help. For over 19 years, Window World of Beckley has helped homeowners in our area take care of their greatest investment. We make it easy to remodel your home with special financing options and convenient monthly payments. Because we are locally owned and operated, you can expect the best in customer service. We're excited to see what you have in mind. We look forward to helping you create the home of your dreams.
All right, welcome back. Top of the fourth inning. Got a game after Independence got out to a 7-0 lead with 2 in the first and 5 in the second. Liberty came back with a big 3-run home run in the third. And as we go to the fourth, Kayla, it's 7-3 as Liberty will have the 6th, 7th, and 8th hitters up. And we'll continue our conversation. We were talking about when you played back in the day and your dad was one of your coaches. He was a base coach. And then when you guys got home and you continued to talk about the game, I want to know, did your mom ever intervene if you and your dad, if your dad thought one thing and you thought something else, did your mom ever intervene with that?
She usually didn't have to, actually, believe it or not. It was,
if you tell me, I believe it.
It was usually pretty. My dad and I, which we still love to talk sports today, but we had a good coach, player, father, daughter dynamic.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's good.
It wasn't like you see in the movies where he's just extra hard on his kid.
Well, he didn't have to be,
so
did
my
he?
mom didn't really ever have to intervene. He jumped on me a couple times. She was probably embarrassed in the stands because he jumped on me a couple times. But no, I didn't get screamed at a lot. So I tried to avoid getting screamed at a lot.
Well, you probably played so good that they couldn't, neither your dad or any of the other coaches could jump on you because you played so well, right?
That's what we'll say.
That's what we'll say. All right, the count's 3-1. So when I talk to your dad, is he going to tell me something different?
I don't think he will. Hopefully, if he's listening,
hopefully if he's listening,
he has the
watching.
same recollection that I do.
Yeah. All right. When I see him around, I'm going to have to ask him about this.
Ask him, yeah.
All right, here comes the 3-1 pitch. And that's ball 4. So Canyon Green
Good start to
will
the
lead things off with a base on ball. And if you're Liberty, that's exactly what you need.
I will tell you a funny story. We had a tournament. We were in high school. We had a tournament in Virginia, and I struck out looking on just an awful pitch. It was a ball, and I didn't strike out a lot. I think I struck out 3 times this whole season, and I struck out looking, and it was terrible. And that was one time my dad and I kind of got into it, and I was like, "That was an awful pitch." And he said, "You got to swing anyhow, protect the plate." Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Well, he was still chewing me out.
As his ball is fouled at the plate.
We were back in the field. I was playing shortstop, and they hit a bloop over my head, and I dove back and caught it. And he stepped up on the top step and hollered out, "We're even." And that was that. So that didn't carry over to the evening or the ride home or.
This is Meadows at the dish. She's now in the hole at 1-2. We're in the top of the fourth inning, and Liberty with a little momentum after trailing 7-0 have cut the lead to 7-3. And the 1-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3.
Good pitch.
So there's the first out of the Liberty fourth inning. That's 9 strikeouts for Pierce already for Independence. As Toller will now be the hitter, Maddie Toller. And takes a called strike.
That looked like kind of a tough pitch to hit, so if that's the strike zone, I mean, that's a good place to keep it.
And there's a big cut and a miss, 0-2 to Toller. Got a little breeze here. Otherwise, a really picture-perfect day in the Beckley-Raleigh County area today.
Yep.
And that'll be called strike 3. So that's the second out, and that's the second strikeout, the 10th strikeout of the game for Pierce. And Hartshorn will now be the hitter. She was a strikeout victim back in the third. Swung on and missed, strike 1.
She's kind of been hitting the corners more as the game goes on, it looks like. Some of these, especially the called third strikes.
Pierce ready in the delivery. Swung on. This ball's hit for a base hit in left field. And the ball gets past the left fielder. That'll be a hit and an error. And they'll send the runner to the plate. Here comes the throw. It's off the line, and Liberty will be able to score a run And that's the one thing about it. The ball was mishandled out in left field. It'll be a hit and an error, and a run scores, and that makes it 7-4. And, you know, Kayla, chipping away. That's right, a little bit at a time. But that error allowed Hartshorn to be able to get to third and let a run score as we're back to the top of the order with Scarborough. She's 0 for 2. She struck out both previous times at the plate, and now she's in the hole with 0-1. But you know, Kayla, Liberty has scored all their runs with 2 outs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's swung at that one. Looked like a little out of the strike zone. 0-2 the count there.
One. Probably see if she'll chase another one here if you're Independence. Don't give her anything good, 0-2.
And the 0-2, that ball bounces away, play at the plate, and not in time. Good hustle coming down the line by Emma Hartshorn, and she scores the second run of the inning. And Liberty, with a lot of momentum, have climbed back into it. They've cut the lead now to 7-5.
Yeah, whole new ball game now.
So there for a minute when all the breaks looked like they were beating Liberty, and Liberty looked like maybe they were on the delivery of being punched out. They able to get back off the mat and storm back, and now have cut the Independence lead from 7-0 to 7-5. And the pitch is fouled back. Scarborough just able to get a piece of it to stay alive. 1-2 the count. But it's what's turned out to be really the first 3 innings to Independence, and the remainder of the game to Liberty. This ball's hit to center field. Lily with the play on it, squeezes it for the final out of the inning. But Liberty able to score a couple of times in the middle of the 4th. It's Independence 7, Liberty 5. We'll be right back here on Video Productions.
Welcome, folks, to the most mouth-watering showdown on television, the Hangry Games Ultimate Snack-Off, right here at your local Little General store. As the snacks fly and the deli slices, remember, dear viewers, every item they're using can be found at your nearest Little General store, where creativity meets convenience. Keep your appetites brave and your snacks ready.
At Access Health, we treat your children the way we want our children to be treated, with care, compassion, and expertise.
We focus on treating the person, not just the symptom. Your health and well-being are our priority.
And when you face uncertainties, we are there with advanced technology and compassionate care.
And we welcome you back to Coal City. This evening's broadcast is brought to you in part by Indoor Air, your train dealer. Nothing stops the train. Jeff Varney and the staff at Indoor Air. You can dial them up at 304-890-2212. Also, the game is brought to you in part by Infinity Coal Company. They offer no premium, low deductible health insurance with dental and vision coverage. They also offer a company-paid life insurance, prescription drug coverage, and a company-matching 401k plan. You can check them out on their Facebook page at United Coal. Well, we're going to the home half of the 4th inning, Kayla, and for Independence, we'll go back to the top of the order, and that's and Cassidy Bradbury's done damage. She's walked, scored, and she hit a 3-run home run.
She has had a really good game.
Yep.
She's a good player, so that's not surprising, but yeah, we'll see if she can add to that.
So Independence, 7 runs on 6 hits. As it'll be Bradbury to lead things off here in the home half of the 4th inning. And the wind starts to whip up.
Yeah,
starting
sure
to blow
is.
our monitor.
Yep.
It's blowing our monitor and our papers every which way. 0-1 the count to Bradbury, and the pitch. And the count even at 1-1. So it'll be Bradbury, Parks, and Emma Lilly.
It's tough with a leadoff hitter that's such a good hitter because you don't want to walk her, but you don't want to give her too much good to hit.
Right, and you know, as this pitch is swung on, it's slapped to the shortstop, got the big bounce, the throw
Good play.
in time. That's a nice play by Mullins the shortstop, and they get Bradbury up for the first time this evening. But what I was going to say, Kayla, that, the top 3 hitters have scored 4 of the team's 7 runs here in the game. And now Parks will be the hitter. She's 1 for 2, lined out in the first, and got a hit in the second inning. Takes ball 1. But definitely momentum is real. When we're doing football, basketball, Eric Thomas, my normal partner, we talk about this all the time, how momentum is really real. And that's been the case here in this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was saying all you got to do is get a couple on, hit a 3-run home run, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Well, sometimes it takes just one big play to kind of switch the momentum. Independence had it, and then Liberty took it from them. And right now it's a battle. It's 7-5, still anybody's game here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Yeah, it could be an exciting finish here.
Count is 3-0 to Parks.
It's been a few years. I won't say how many, but no. Oh, man.
Parks
she thought she was walking.
Yeah, she threw the bat and was ready to go to first, and the umpire's like, not so fast. And I don't think she meant to show up the umpire.
No, I think she truly thought she was
truly
walking.
Thought it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And the 3-1. And that's definitely ball 4 on that one. So Emma Lilly has got a hit, scored, and a fielder's choice and scored. She been on and scored both times. She was on base when Bradbury hit the
3-run homer.
Yep. Actually, she was on after Bradbury. I beg your pardon. Yeah, if you bat behind her, there's no way you can be on base. I have to learn how to be able to read my own stuff sometimes. And the pitch. Swung on. This ball's hit. Mullins, the shortstop, knocks it down. They won't get the lead runner. They'll throw it away. That'll be an error as the ball goes all the way down to right field. And Bradbury able to turn and score easily.
I think that was Parks, right, that scored?
And I beg your pardon, Parks, not Bradbury. Parks able to score. You are correct. Told you I need all the help I can get.
But that goes back to kind of something you said earlier, which is
can't give them extra outs.
Yeah. Error, that they will make you pay for an error.
And here's this ball is hit by Lilly in the gap. And that'll get down for an RBI single. So Bella Lilly will drive in Emma Lilly, and 2 runs have crossed the dish here in the 4th inning. And that'll take the lead out to 9-4.
Now, if you're Independence, this is what you needed after a couple of innings without the momentum.
Yeah, I said 9-4, beg your pardon, 9-5. Bream will be the batter, and she's 2 for 2, got a couple of hits. And the pitch. And that'll miss. Count evens 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Runner on. Couple have already scored. So Independence has got 2 in the first, 5 in the second, and they've got 2 here in the 4th and still hitting as they lead 9-5. And there's a called strike. Bream asks for time. The tall, lanky first baseman digs in from the left-hand side of the plate, swung on and fouls it, staying alive. So Meadows ready on the mound, and the 1-2 swung on. This ball's a chopper right back to Meadows. Only plays to first. He'll get the out there. The runner, Lilly, will advance to second. And there's 2 out in the inning. Stanley will now be the hitter. She's 0 for 2, struck out in the first, and fly to center in the second. So maybe she feels she's due. She's one of the 4 seniors. Yep, yeah. Maybe she's due.
She's a good hitter.
Yep, from the right-hand side of the plate. That ball's way high and out of the strike zone. got a little breeze. So like I said, maybe if you can get the ball up, maybe that breeze can help take it over the fence. Like we had mentioned throughout the broadcast, it's 200 from foul pole to foul pole. This ball was swung up, hit to the shortstop, big bounce.
Yeah, good bounce.
The throw to first, and that retires the side, but not before Independence is able to score a couple runs. We played 4. It's 9-5 in favor of Independence. We'll be right back here on Video Productions. And just getting together the line score here for Liberty. They've got 5 runs, 5 hits. They've committed 3 errors. Independence has got 9 runs on 7 hits. And Independence has committed, I know, at least 1 error. I'm totaling it up right now. And they have an error. As we go now to the top of the 5th inning. And it'll be 2, 3, and 4 due up for Liberty here in the top half of the 5th inning. So Hill will lead things off. About time I think I can take my sunglasses off as this ball's fouled back. I think that's another reason why I've had a hard time maybe reading my score sheet. I had my sunglasses still on.
I noticed I needed to take mine off a little while ago too.
And once again, Kayla, as I told you when we started, I need all the help I can get, so I appreciate you helping me out over here. Of course, we've got the wind, the weather to deal with. We got the elements to deal with.
Right.
The pitch, 1-1.
Outside.
But we're glad to have you aboard, and hopefully this will be
here.
the first of many encounters of you on video production.
I hope so too. I'm having a good time. It does help. It's windy, but it is a nice day, a good day for softball. And
well, you know, when we were here Thursday, I had to work by myself, and it was in the rain, had to go inside. If you were here, you might have melted, right?
Right.
I know I wouldn't,
right.
but you might have.
Maybe.
Count is 2-1. 2-1 to Hill as Pierce gets ready.
You gotta love the West Virginia softball weather.
And the 2-1 is fouled back. And as you and I said, earlier in the broadcast, no matter how nice it is, wherever you're at, it's always colder at the ballpark. I don't care if it's the Little League Park, the high school, the Babe Ruth, the softball, doesn't matter. If you're at a baseball or softball game, it's always colder there than it is anywhere else.
It's true.
And here comes the 2-2. Swung on, fouled back. And that's right
all
here.
Over it.
Oh, yep. Of course, there's tight quarters here up here at Independence. This is a very good-looking field. Like I said, 200 from foul pole to foul pole. The bleachers, the fans are basically right on top of the play.
Yeah.
And the 2-2, and the count will go full. So, you're thinking base runners. You think you want to get on. Yes, it's 9-5 in favor of Independence. Independence got out to a 7-0 lead. Liberty came back to make it 7-5. Independence has since added a couple of runs. And the payoff pitch is ball 4. So the leadoff man's aboard, and Hill's on for the 3rd time. She had 2 hits and now draws a walk.
Game.
And now Mullins will be the hitter. 1 for 2, struck out in the 1st and got a hit and scored back in the 3rd. And Pierce ready in the pitch. Swung on and coming right to you, Kayla. Almost.
I was ready.
Yep, if it had just cleared that fence, it might have landed right in your lap.
I might have got to make a play.
There you go. So 0-1 the count to Katie Mullins. And the 0-1. Swung on. This ball is going to hit the left field. It's going to fall. It'll get down for a hit. It'll get past the left fielder. And that's a hit and an error. And Liberty's got something cooking now as they got runners at the corner. Nobody out. So
I think
Stewart
she actually
misses it.
took second on that.
Yep. And now we may have a change out left field because they've had some issues in left field, and we're going to have a new left fielder. And the new left fielder is going to be Zoe Bragg. Bragg played earlier as a courtesy runner, but now she will go out into left field because there's been some issues in this game in left field. And so now, as you stated, Kayla, the hitter was able to get down to second. Mullen. So now third and second, nobody out.
Yeah, 2 runners in scoring position,
Yeah.
no one out.
That's really what you call
That's what Liberty wanted.
yes, ribs on the grill,
Yeah,
huh?
there you go. Ribs on the grill.
Yep, ducks on the pond. Whichever you like, either or.
I always heard ducks on the pond,
It's
but I
kinda
really
like-
like
Well,
ribs.
I will say this is like tomato, right?
right.
All right, now the hitter will be Bowles. And Bowles is 2 for 2, a single, including a huge 3-run shot. Her last time up. Chance for another 3-run blast,
yeah,
right?
Yep.
And she was way out in front of that one, and she fouls it back 0-1.
Yeah, big swing.
Well, she showed she has the power to deliver.
Definitely has the power. Yep.
Like I said, it's 200 from foul pole to foul pole all the way across the park. And a golden opportunity for Liberty to get back in it as they trail 9-5. The pitch swung on, and that's going to be fouled out of play down the left field line behind the dugout. So now Bowles will be in the hole at 0-2. Bowles, you can see why she hits in the cleanup position. Like I said,
she does have a lot of power.
As you stated during the play-by-play, Kayla, on that home run she hit last at bat, the left fielder just turned and just watched it get by, like had no chance to catch it.
It's a bad feeling whenever that happens.
Yeah, when you see the left fielder not making a beat for the ball, you know that it's going to leave the yard.
Yeah.
The 0-2, and good eye that time for Bowles able to lay off that high pitch.
Yeah, it was a good idea as the pitcher, 0-2 there, try to get her to chase something high.
Yeah, because if she hit that ball out of the park, more power to her,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And another high one. And that's the main thing, obviously if you're independent, you don't want to give up any runs, but you don't want, because you already seen Bowles has the ability to leave the yard, and you just want to keep her in the park.
Right.
And if you're independent, you'll definitely trade a run for an out here.
Right.
And once again, a good at-bat so far by Bowles. Like I said, she's got 2 hits in the game. And she's hanging in there. The count's 2-2. We're in the 5th inning. 9-5 the lead for Independence, but Liberty threatening with runners at third and second as the wind starts to kick up. And the pitch swung on. The ball's hit to the infield to the right side, and that's the second baseman, Bradbury, able to squeeze it for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, that's great for Independence to get through her without getting a run across.
So Brown will be the hitter. She's 0 for 2. She struck out in the first and struck out in the third. And here comes the pitch. Yep. 1 out of the inning. That's ball 1. Golden opportunity here for Liberty with runners at third and second. And they had 1 out. Had no outs. Now they do have 1 out. And Stella Brown, the batter. And she squares the bunt. She lays it down, and it's foul. Good hustle by Simpson. Diving and got a face full of dirt, but you got to appreciate the effort,
yeah,
right?
Good effort.
Absolutely. And, this is the 3rd game I've watched Simpson. She's played a really good, very good the previous 2 games that we've done at, down at third base. So the count will even at 1 ball and 1 strike to Stella Brown. And the 1-1. Swung on and missed. The count goes to 1-2. Your Pierce right here, Kyle. You got to be thinking strikeout.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be huge.
So Pierce will get the sign from Parks. Ready, the 1-2. Swung on and fouled back out of play.
Almost got it to the road behind us.
Well, I was getting ready to say, Kayla, I hope you park far enough back.
I parked across the street at the
there
school.
There you go. So you are definitely way out of foul ball range.
I've seen some vehicles get dinged up here.
Yeah. So here comes the 1-2. And it's on its way.
Good pitch.
And that's called strike 3.
Those are two big outs.
So after Liberty had 2 on and nobody out, now it's 2 on and 2 out.
But like you said before, they've scored with 2
outs.
outs.
A couple times
pretty
as
often.
Canyon Green, the hitter, struck out in the second. drew a walk and scored back in the fourth. And we'll take a called strike.
Need these runs, Canyon.
And the pitch. Swung on and missed. The count's 0-2. So considering Liberty had 2 on and nobody out, Pierce just 1 strike away from getting out of it. And this would be huge for the Patriots.
It would be.
Yeah. And the 0-2.
There you go.
And that's called strike 3. So that's the end of the middle of the 5th inning. And in the middle of the 5th, Independence will take a 9-5 lead to the bottom of the 5th when we come back here on Video Productions.
Yeah, they did. I heard about that.
And we welcome you back to Coal City, West Virginia, here at Independence High School. We got the brains of the outfit, Faith Alexander. So we went to our bullpen. We had the heavy hitter. Now we got Faith Alexander helping us out. We appreciate that. I'm Marisol with Kayla Saunders. And Kayla, so far this has been a very entertaining game, and I've enjoyed it. You and I think it's been good. I've enjoyed you on the broadcast. And, of course, we're not done yet as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning.
Yeah, it has been a good one. Started off 7-0. Was thinking, maybe we weren't going to be here as long, but Liberty really has chipped away, battled back, stayed in it, and Independence got a couple back again. But it has been a good game.
So Simpson, the third baseman, Emma Simpson, will lead things off. She reached on an error in the second and scored, and was a strikeout victim in the third. So she's 0 for 2 and a run scored. 7, 8, 9, the bottom third of the Independence batting order. As this ball swung on, it's hit the left field. The left fielder's looking up, over her head, and out of the park, a home run. As Simpson delivers a solo shot and adds to Independence lead as they now take a 10-5 lead on a leadoff solo home run by Emma Simpson. So, Kayla, we were talking about, and you had mentioned how you talk about small ball, but we've seen more than small balls. We watched the replay. It's the park. It's not holding. That's the third home run in this game.
It is.
So Simpson goes deep to lead things off for Independence here in the home half of the 5th inning. And now they've doubled up Liberty. That's 10 runs on 8 hits. And now it'll be Bragg. Zoe Bragg will now be the hitter. She got in earlier as a courtesy runner, and then she was inserted in the lineup defensively to play left field. And the pitch.
Definitely feels like Independence has taken that momentum.
Got the momentum back a little bit.
Yeah, these last couple innings.
So 1-1 is the count. They haven't put that on the scoreboard yet, but that's what it is. This ball swung on and fouled. The count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. I believe that is the count. They've got 1-1, but I thought it was 1-2.
I think it is, and I think I heard Ken Atkins say 2 strikes on you.
That's what I thought, 1-2, and the 1-2 delivery swung on. This ball's hit to left field, and the left fielder has the beat on the ball and will make the play. That's Brown out there in left for the first out of the inning. So there's 1 out. And Pierce will now be the hitter, the number 9 hitter in the batting order. A 10-5 lead for Independence here on the bottom of the 5th inning. And the pitch swung on. That ball is hit down the left field line. That'll get down, and that'll be a hit. Pierce takes the big turn, and she'll able to stand up with a double.
She helped herself.
Yep. And even though that ball got away a little bit from the left field, I think she was going to get a double on that. I think so. She was going to do her best Kayla Saunders imitation and get dirty.
Right.
But this time she hit the ball far enough where she didn't have to.
Stand-up double.
There you go. So we'll go back to the top of the order, and Bradbury will now be the hitter.
Looks like we have a runner, too, for the pitcher.
So let's see. We got a new runner in there. And that is going to be Harris. So Bradbury has scored a couple of times. Of course, she delivered a big 3-run blast. She's going to play at the next level. One of the 4 seniors that was honored before the game. So Independence has 2 hits in the inning. This ball swung on, skied to left field, and nice play. And no, did she hang on to that? No, she did not. She did not hang on to it.
I think she hung on to it, but her momentum took her back, and she kind of she dove backwards after she caught it, and the runner tagged
So
up.
they called her out. Okay.
They called her out, but the runner did tag.
Let me watch the replay here. Yes, you're all over that. I thought for a minute the ball got free, so that's the second out of the inning. So see, Kayla, I need all the help I can get. This ball's hit to the gap. Yep, and that'll get down. That'll get to the wall as Parks will drive in a run, and she'll have a double. And that will be the 3rd hit of the inning, and that will drive in a run. So that'll be 11 runs on 10 hits. The lead's gone to 11-5. This ball is hit down the right field line, and it is fair. And that's really with the ball having eyes, and they played it another run to go up 12-5. Now, if they were to score one more run, that would be the ball game.
Right.
That was like an excuse me little single right there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we could have a walk-off 8-run rule here.
Yeah, so 4 hits in the inning. And this ball's hit to the shortstop, the throw to first, and that will retire the side. But Independence is able to put 3 on the board, and after 5, they take a 7-run lead. It's 12-5 Independence. We'll be right back here on Video Productions.
Welcome, folks, to the most mouth-watering showdown on television, the Hangry Games Ultimate Snack-Off, right here at your local Little General Store. As the snacks fly and the deli slices, remember, dear viewers, every item they're using can be found at your nearest Little General Store, where creativity meets convenience. Keep your appetites brave and your snacks ready.
At Access Health, we treat your children the way we want our children to be treated, with care, compassion, and expertise.
We focus on treating the person, not just the symptom. Your health and well-being are our priority.
And when you face uncertainties, we're there with advanced technology and compassionate care.
We're going to the top half of the 6th inning, and Independence is in front of Liberty by the score of 12-5. 12 runs on 11 hits for Independence and 5 runs on 5 hits for Liberty as we go, as I mentioned, the top of the 6th inning. And it'll be the bottom 3 of the order for Liberty. And to lead things off will be Meadows. It'll be Meadows, Toller, and Hartshorn will be the 3 hitters for Liberty here in the 6th inning. So, Kayla, when you look at Independence, they've scored in every inning but the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
They got 2 in the 1st, 5 in the 2nd, 2 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th. Like I said, the 3rd inning was the only inning which they didn't score
right.
in.
They have responded well to the
and that was what, like you
adversity.
said, that you know, after they got off to a 7-0 lead, Independence, Liberty got the momentum, cut it to 7-5. Independence regained the momentum back.
Yeah.
There's the pitch, swung on. That ball's a little pop-up to shortstop, able to come in and squeeze it for the first out of the inning. Yes, that's Bella Lilly making the play. So 1 up, 1 down. As the wind starts to whip up.
Mm-hmm.
said, we're outside. We don't mind. We're battling through that. But, wind, I tell you, it definitely beats rain.
Yeah,
most
for
definitely
sure.
that beats rain.
I agree.
And I can tell you that as this pitch here is the batter is Toller. And I don't know if you remember this a few years ago, the year that Independence won the state football championship. Of course, broadcasting Eric and I for video productions, we did the quarterfinal and the semifinal round as this pitch swung on to miss outside. I remember Beckley playing Fairmont and then playing North Marion, and it was out there, and it was less than 30 degrees. It was in the 20s, and I was freezing. I think Eric was going to have to pull me across the finish line. I was so cold, and we were outside in that. So
I was at those games at Independence.
that ball's hit foul, and it's caught in foul ground. Nice hustle and a nice play by Bradbury, the second baseman.
She did a good job calling off the
Yes,
first baseman, too.
for the second out of the inning. She ran a long way for that pop out. So 2 down, and Emma Hartshorn will be the batter. She's 1 for 2. Struck out, got a hit, scored a run. And she bats for 2 out, nobody on, and takes a called strike.
One of those games, and I can't remember which one it was. It may have been the one against Fairmont, the year Independence won the state championship. I wore my entire ski suit. It was so cold.
Well, it was cold. In fact, the first round game, I remember here right across the street when Independence played Bluefield, it rained real bad.
I think it was like remnants of a hurricane or something.
And we were fortunate enough to be in the press box, but then after that we were told we had to go outside, and even though it didn't rain, it was cold and miserable the next 2 weeks. So I survived it. I made it, but
this is much nicer right now.
And it counts 1 and 2. So I've battled the elements before outside.
Right.
And this ball is skied up in the infield. Of course, this weather here, nothing compared to that. There's 3 up, 3 down, middle of the 6th inning. It's a 12-5 Independence lead. We'll be right back here on Video Productions. Welcome you back to Coal City, West Virginia, here at Independence High School. The game this evening brought to you in part by Indoor Air. Indoor Air is your train dealer. Nothing stops a train. Jeff Barney and his staff, you can dial him up at 304-890-2212. Also, the game is brought to you in part by Infinity Coal Company. Infinity Coal Company, always looking for employees, as they offer a no premium, low deductible health insurance with dental and vision coverage. They also offer a company paid life insurance, prescription drug coverage, and a company matching 401k plan. You can check them out on their Facebook page at United Coal Company. All right, Breen will lead things off for Independence here in the home half of the 6th inning. First pitch swinging, grounded to the shortstop, going to be a close play, and she'll be safe. Even though the ball went off the first baseman's glove, I think she was going to beat that out anyway.
So too.
And I think, Kayla, you and I are on the same page. That'll be an infield hit. So Bream will lead things off, and that's her 3rd hit of the ball game. And that will be the 12th hit of overall for Independence. And now it will be Stanley, who is 0 for 3. And I said last time she was due, maybe she's due this time.
Right.
It seemed like she came around quick in the batting order, didn't she?
Yeah.
So we're in the bottom of the 6th inning. It's a 12-5 game. And I stand to be corrected if I'm wrong in this, but I do think if Independence scores a run, the game will be over. Independence won't even get an opportunity to bat in the top of the 7th. That's correct?
That's
why I
understanding.
Me too. That's my understanding.
That's how it was in 2011.
Yeah, that's my understanding of the rule. As this ball gets away, and Bream able to go to second. Because, when we were doing the Beckley Independence game, they were in the 5th inning, And I was thinking it was 10 runs, and when it got to 8, the game was
Because
called in the 5th
it's
inning.
essentially like if they score, it's just like a walk-off.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if Independence with no out and they have what could be the game-ending run in scoring position,
Right.
if they score, they will win the game. It has been a very entertaining game.
It has, yeah, lots of action.
We've had 3 home runs in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the first 2 reach as Bream led off with an infield hit, and now Stanley draws a walk. So runners at first and second and nobody out. And Simpson, who led off last inning with a solo home run. So she reached on an error and scored, struck out, and then, like I said, hit a solo home run. One of the 3 home runs we've seen hit, 2 by Independence, 1 by Liberty. And that's called a strike.
Dropped a little bit at the end.
So 0-1 the count to Simpson. And the 0-1 delivery. Swung on and fouled back. Simpson in the hole at 0-2. That's one thing. Meta's a young lady on the mound for Liberty. She's the Raiders' 3rd pitcher of the game, but she can bring it.
Yeah, I think she's done a good job.
So 0-2 the count to the Independence 3rd baseman. And the pitch. Swung on that, hits foul down the 3rd baseline. Simpson trying to end it because you got to think, Kayla, anything into the outfield.
Anything in the grass probably going to score.
Anything out of the infield is probably going to score the what would be the game-ending run.
I agree.
So 0-2 to Simpson. And here comes the 0-2 delivery. And that'll back her off the plate just a tad. 1-2 the count. We'll have a quick wrap-up. We'll be back here tomorrow. Rusty Udy will join me for the 6 o'clock start. Independence and Logan. This ball is hit to the outfield, and the center fielder, it won't get it.
Should have.
They're going to round Bream to the plate. They'll get the out at 3rd, but the run will score, and that'll be the ball game. So that will be it. It'll be a 13-5 Patriot victory as Bream scores what it turns out to be the game-ending run. So your final score is 13-5. We'll take a break. We'll come back and recap and have our post-game show coming up next here on Video Productions.
Welcome, folks, to the most mouth-watering showdown on television, the Hangry Games Ultimate Snack-Off, right here at your local Little General store. As the snacks fly and the deli slices, remember, dear viewers, every item they're using can be found at your nearest Little General store, where creativity meets convenience. Keep your appetites brave and your snacks ready.
At Access Health, we treat your children the way we want our children to be treated, with care, compassion, and expertise.
We focus on treating the person, not just the symptom. Your health and well-being are our priority.
And when you face uncertainties, we are there with advanced technology and compassionate care.
And we welcome you back to Independence High School as the game has gone final. As it's an 8-run victory, 13-5 the final score. And I'm going to give you the line scores. And the line scores are brought to you by Indoor Air. Indoor Air, your train dealer. Nothing stops a train. And Jeff Varney and his staff at Indoor Air, you can dial him up at 304-890-2212. Also, the line score is brought to you by Infinity Coal Company. They offer no premium, low-deductible health insurance with dental and vision coverage. They also offer a company-paid life insurance, prescription drug coverage, and a company-matching 401k plan. And you can check them out on the Facebook page at United Coal Company. All right, unofficially, the final line score is Independence 13 runs, 13 hits, and 2 errors. Liberty 5 runs, 7 hits, and 4 errors. And Kayla, we saw a little bit of everything. We saw 3 home runs, 2 by Independence, 1 by Liberty, and we had a lot of momentum swings. But when it's all said and done, Independence able to get the victory as they win the ball game. 13-5. Independence now 17-7, and Liberty now 10-7.
Yeah, good game. Like you said, there was a little bit of everything. Pretty exciting, and Independence jumped out ahead. Liberty took the momentum, and then Independence answered obviously really well there at the end of the game.
Well, Kayla, we appreciate you being a part of Video Productions. I hope you enjoy doing it, your first broadcast. Hopefully the first of what's to be many more.
Yeah, I hope so.
I think so. Of course, Video Productions is, we do a little bit of everything. Of course, basketball, softball, football. We do a little bit of everything, and I tell people I'm a man for all seasons. You can be a woman for all
right?
seasons, and
I like all of those seasons.
I know you do, and games that I go to, especially when we're doing Independence, I see you
right? Yep.
always at the games anyway. So, but
Might
anyway,
as well.
we appreciate you, and I thought it went good. And of course, when every now and then I get the train off the tracks, you help get me back on the tracks, and I really appreciate
well,
that.
I appreciate you, and I had a good time, and hopefully, like you said, I'll be able to do some more of these, even if it's next year with whatever, football, basketball,
or whatever. We'll see what's to come.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody here at Independence that made the broadcast possible. Also for our video production staff, for Jackie Moon, who braved the wind and got on top of the dugout, and with the camera. We had the brains of the outfit, Faith Alexander, and the heavy hitter, Mr. Nick Eskins, both bundled up, both produced, co-produced, and directed. We appreciate all their effort. And for my sidekick here this evening, for Kayla Saunders, I'm Maris Lowry, repeating the final score. Independence defeats Liberty 13-5. Good evening, everybody.